We are just under 24 hours away from kickoff between the Missouri Tigers and the Texas A&M Aggies. So it's time for some bold predictions.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. You are locked on the Texas A&M Aggies. I'm your host, Matt Galatzan of Texas A&M Aggies on SI. Thank you so much for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. DJ Burton joining me today. And DJ, we are about, as we record this, 23 hours and 20 minutes away from kickoff between the Texas A&M Aggies and the Missouri Tigers. And as usual, on our Friday show or Thursday, whenever DJ's on, we usually do this. We have our bold predictions for the game. We have our X factors on both sides of the ball for the game, or both teams for the game. And then we also have Matt and DJ School for kids who can't gamble good. Our picks against the spread, our prop bets, over-unders, those kinds of things. So let's start off with bold predictions. This is a very, very important game for both teams. Texas A&M right now completely controls its own destiny heading into Atlanta. I have said multiple times that I think Texas A&M should be number one in the college football playoff rankings. People are telling me that to stop saying it because it's bad juju, whatever. I believe it. And if they can just win this game, they will be ostensibly a lock because I don't see any way in hell South Carolina beats them. The Texas game is going to be a little bit of a toss-up, so this is going to be a very, very key one. And it is on the road on the SEC, which is never easy to do. That said, the Aggies are favored by 6.5 points, and we both believe, at least I do, I haven't gotten DJ's take on this week, that Texas A&M will be okay, and they will survive this game, and they will move on to 9-0 on the season. Now, in terms of bold predictions, I am going to go first, DJ. And I say, well, let's start with Texas A&M. We're going to do bold predictions. We'll anyway. I'm going to start on the offensive side of the ball for Texas A&M. This is the number one rush defense in the SEC, I believe. It's at least top 3 or 4. One of the top ones in the SEC, one of the top ones in the country. I think Ruben Owens breaks the century mark and scores 2 touchdowns in this game. That is my first bold prediction.
Yeah, I like that one. I really feel like Ruben Owens has he's been dancing around what we thought he was going to do, or kind of stepping into this feature back role with Le'Veon Moss being down. Yeah, I feel like this Missouri defense is due to give up a big game, and I think Moss and the Aggies are definitely one of the teams that can do it to them, especially behind that experienced offensive line. I could definitely see that happen.
They are Missouri is ranked number 4 in the SEC in rush defense, 90.38 yards per game, just behind Texas, Oklahoma, and Auburn. So yeah, I mean that's. What do you got? What's your first one, DJ?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Aggies offense. I'm gonna say Marcel Reed throws for over 300 yards in this one. I think this is one of the better defensive units against the rush in the SEC. So I think A&M kind of knows that, and I think they're going to lean on kind of what's been their secondary attack with the pass. And I think Reed's going to get it going early and often with Craver and Conception, and they're going to have themselves a day.
This is an extremely bold prediction, DJ, because Missouri has the number 1 pass defense in the SEC. So that is the definition of bold. I like it. I think that these receivers can get behind this Missouri secondary, especially Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion. So I like that one a lot. And if we can get another ABR one-hander across the middle that goes for an explosive play, that would be pretty sweet too.
Beautiful.
All right, let's move to the defensive side of the ball. So far in SEC play, Cassius Howe has been, well, let's just say unbelievable. He has a sack in every game so far in SEC play this season. And he's got 9.5 for the year. He had 1 against Auburn, 2.5 against Mississippi State, 1 against Florida, 2 against LSU. This is a really good Missouri offensive line. They got a freshman quarterback back there, though. He may hold on to the ball a little bit too much. I think Cassius Howe gets 3 sacks in this game. 3.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that one. I had that one written down as not specifically Howe, but I had Aggies record 4 sacks on the day. I think that pass rush is just it's undeniable. They're going to get back there no matter who they're playing. They don't care. Cassius Howe, he's a dog. He's going to sit there and tell you about it too as he's beating you. So I think it's going to be they're just going to be teeing off on that freshman quarterback.
I agree. You have another one for us?
Yeah, that kind of piggybacks. I think the rush is going to be too much. I think A&M is going to hold Missouri to under 200 yards.
Of total offense?
Total offense, 200 yards.
Wow. Okay. I like that a lot. Another very, very bold one from DJ there. Going back to Missouri, let me pull them back up real quick. Ahmad Hardy has been really good this year. Really, really good. As a matter of fact, I think he's 4th in the nation in rushing heading into this week. Against Vanderbilt in their last game, they were, I believe. Let me make sure I got this right. They were held to. They had 376 yards of total offense. I don't know if they've been held that low this season, and I think this is a really good opportunity to do that though, because you got a freshman quarterback back there. We don't know what he's going to be. He's a really talented guy, but how is he going to react to his first start being in SEC play? So I like that a lot. I'm going to give you a bonus bold prediction because I forgot about this one. I think that Texas A&M holds Ahmad Hardy under 100 yards rushing for the 4th straight week. He got off to a really hot start this year, and he's been good. He's been averaging 4 yards a carry in SEC play, at least over 4 yards a carry in SEC play. But I think this is the week that they really hold him down, despite the concerns about their rush defense. I think they hold him under 100 for the 4th time in a row.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that one kind of ties into my X factor. So I think the A&M defense definitely has a chance to do it, but it really just depends on the play of a specific player, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I have a feeling on where you might be going with that one. So we will come back after this break and a word from our sponsor and give you our X factors for both teams in this game. And who do we think? X factors are players who aren't stars necessarily, or the players you might think will have a big impact, but these guys are going to have an impact on the outcome. So stick with us after this break, and we'll be right back. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streak, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For Texas A&M, I think we have to go with Cassius Howe on this one. Like I said in the last segment, he's got a sack in every game in SEC play, 2 games with multiple sacks in SEC play, and he always seems to come to show up when it matters most. When the pressure is on, Howell comes through, no hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, it's not a fluke. Cassius Howe is on a streak. And just like Howell delivered for the Aggies, DoorDash delivers for your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day. Only with DoorDash. Promo period through 11/18. All right, it's time for X Factors, DJ. And there's a lot you could choose from in this game because I think that this is going to be a very tight game. And Texas A&M is going to have multiple players step up. We know what Cassius Howe can do. We know what Marcel Reed, Mario Craver, KC Concepcion can do. This is a very talented Missouri defense. A couple really good pass rushers, great secondary, good run defense. Really talented skill position players on offense as well. My first X factor for the Aggies is on offense. I'm going to go with Ashton Bethel-Roman. He's been coming up big the last couple weeks. He's not very talked about despite that. And even if it's just one catch, he seems like an explosive play waiting to happen. I think he gets another explosive play at a critical moment in this game to move the chains and get the Aggies into scoring position and help them secure the win.
Yeah, I've said it multiple times this year. I think Ashton Bethel-Roman's probably in the most favorable position for a young pass catcher on this A&M team. You have all the attention on Concepcion and Craver in front of him. Everybody games plans for those guys, and then you just have ABR able to find the crack, kind of just slip in behind everybody because all the focus is on the two guys you really have to focus on. So I definitely think that he's going to be one of those guys that makes the crucial play in this one. I'm going to kind of stick with the passing attack for my offensive X factor for the Aggies. I'm going to go with tight end Theo Melin-Ohstrom. Feels like he's been another one of those guys that's just been whenever the Aggies need a big play, he's there. He's only found the end zone once this year, and I think he'll do it again.
Yeah, he was my other choice. I really, really like Melin-Ohstrom a lot. I think that he's a really talented guy. He's such a mismatch with his size and his athleticism, and he's got strong hands. And I think he's really starting to figure out the college game a lot, even though he's only been playing it for a short time. He's got 13 catches for 105 yards and a touchdown this year. But it just kind of feels like he's primed for a big one. I know we've been saying this about Amari Niblack recently, and we kind of got away from that because he's not.
Hold on, man, I lost you.
He's not really living up to the hype, I guess, is what I would say. But Melin-Ohstrom, I think, is right on the cusp of having a big one, so I really like that one a lot. Let's move to the defensive side of the ball, DJ, for Texas A&M. I kind of want to let you go first so I don't steal yours. So why don't you go first, and then I'll give you mine just in case we have the same one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the big boy in the middle. I'm going to go with Albert Regis. He really just feels like he's been kind of – whenever this A&M rush defense has been on, he's been playing phenomenal, lights out. And especially against this talented Missouri rushing attack, he's going to be one of those guys that the Aggies really need to kind of lean on and just be the anchor of this defensive line.
That's a good one. Especially against a team that runs the ball like Missouri does. And I know they don't have Bo Pribula back there, but Matt Zollers can run the ball. And it's going to be a little bit different of an attack for Missouri without Pribula in there. But regardless of who's back there, Ahmad Brooks is going to get the ball a lot, or Ahmad Hardy is going to get the ball a lot. And so Regis is going to be critical there. Mine's kind of in the same vein, but a different part of the defense. I'm going to go Dalton Brooks. I think he's led the team in tackles the last couple weeks. And I think he's going to be critical in that running game. I know he's not the biggest guy in the world, but his ability to play in the box and get tackles and keep Ahmad Hardy from breaking a big one, I think, is going to be huge in this game. It would have been easy to go with somebody like Torian York or Marcus Ratcliffe or, one of the other linebackers. But Dalton Brooks has really, really been key to this Texas A&M defense over the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to stick with him, and I think he's going to have a big one here.
One thing that really jumps out to me when watching Brooks is just his ability to just put his body on the line, and he's going to fly to the football, and he's going to get there violently. And that's something that I think you really need to play with once, you're late in the season, because that's going to make the Missouri running backs think twice about getting to him there. So I think that's a great pick there.
Yeah. He's a really, really good player. Okay. Let's move to Missouri now, the X factors for Missouri. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball. Ahmad Hardy gets all the pub, and for good reason. 937 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5.9 yards per carry. But the other running back, Jamal Roberts, is also a very, very, very good football player. He's averaging 6.5 yards per carry. He has a long of 63 this year. He's a little bit bigger, 6 foot, 212 pounds, just a few pounds heavier. He's had some really, really solid games in SEC play this year. He went for 76 in a score against South Carolina, had a big 39-yard run against Alabama, averaged 10 yards per carry in that game. He was held in check against Auburn and against Vanderbilt, but I think that this is another opportunity for him. When Ahmad Hardy's not in the game, maybe he kind of, doesn't get all the attention that Ahmad Hardy would get, and he's able to break a big one for the Tigers.
Yeah, it definitely feels like when the Aggies are, gashed in the run game, it's by a team that has a 1-2 punch like that can the backs kind of play off each other. And I could definitely see that causing issues for the Aggies in this one. I mean, we saw it with Notre Dame. We saw it with UTSA. I think it could really cause issues. And, I wouldn't be surprised if the Aggies can't kind of rein them in a little bit. Sticking with the same kind of idea there is I'm going to go with left tackle Cayde Green and the entire offensive line. This Aggies defense is smothering when it comes to pass rush. And just at the end of the day, it's going to be a battle that's won in the trenches for whichever team. And it's going to be whichever side's big boys can kind of rise up and just be the more physical group. And Cayde Green's likely going to be the guy that's matched up on Cassius Howe all night, and he's going to be responsible for protecting that young quarterback's blind side. So if he can kind of have a day and buck up against Howell and keep him away, then I think it'll be a great day for Missouri.
I like that one. That's going to be a hell of a matchup to watch. That might be the best matchup to watch in this game overall. Two really, really talented guys there. That's going to be a battle. So I like that one a lot. On the defensive side of the ball for Missouri, for me, I'm going to go with Zion Young, the edge rusher. Damone Wilson's the one that gets most of the pub because he's got 6.5 sacks. He's a former 5-star. He's the Georgia transfer, and he's the one with the big name. Zion Young has 5 sacks of his own this year, and if the A&M offensive line can hold up against both of those pass rushers, you're going to have a good night. But it's really difficult when you got two guys like that coming at you from both sides. And I think that Zion Young might benefit from Damone Wilson being on the other side for Missouri.
Yeah, that's definitely that's going to create issues for any offensive line. Because usually when you have a guy of that caliber, you want to double team him. That's the thing with the Aggies. You can double team Cassius Howe because, yes, we have talented pass rushers, but you really only have to worry about that one guy, and then you can fit it back on everybody or on somebody else. The thing about Missouri's defensive ends is that you have to worry about both of them, and you don't want one of your running backs having to go and worry about leaving a defensive tackle unblocked, and then you just don't want to have to do that because you don't want 200 pounds on a 300-plus pounder, and that's just a recipe for disaster. So yeah, I really like that pick. I think either one of those guys is just going to have a day, and it's going to be whether A&M can hem those guys in, whether they come out on top. I think A&M's going to win the game, but I think it'll really determine by how much.
Mm-hmm. Did you have another defensive X factor?
No, I did not. I had Zion and Damone Wilson.
Well, I should have let you go first because I had 2 written down. I'm going to give you guys a bonus
Who's the other one?
X factor, though. My other defensive X factor, I was going to go with Chris McClellan, the defensive tackle. I think he's one of the best defensive tackles in America, and I think he's going to be able to kind of help stuff that run game for Texas A&M. He doesn't get a lot of pub nationally, but he's a really, really good football player, and I think he's going to have a big game. It's going to be a really good matchup between this Missouri defensive line and this Texas A&M offensive line. But just real quick, add another bonus X factor for you on the offensive side of the ball for Missouri. Brett Norfleet the tight end. He leads the Tigers with 5 touchdown receptions. He's questionable on the injury report, though, so we're not 100% sure if he's going to play as of Friday at 3:30 p.m. Central Time. If he does, he could be a serious red zone threat for Missouri there, and he could get a touchdown, maybe even 2. They really like him there in the red zone, and a tight end is a quarterback's best friend, and when you got a freshman, send him to the big tight end. All right, we are going to take our next break. When we come back, we are going to get into Matt and DJ school for kids who can't gamble good. So stick with us after this break, and we'll be right back. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts for a fast project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Join the free Trademaster program and secure serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Okay. It is time for my personal favorite segment of the week, Matt and DJ School for Kids Who Can't Gamble Good. We pick prop bets. We pick against the spread, over-unders, things like that. I think we've done okay. I don't have the log of the history of all the picks that we've made, but I feel like we've been doing pretty good. It helps that Mario Craver balls out every week. So let's start off with passing. The over-under for Marcel Reed is 227.5. The over-under for Matt Zollers is 177.5. I'm going to go with the over for Marcel Reed. I think he gets somewhere between 250 and 275 through the air. And I'm also going to go with the over for Zollers. I think this kid's really talented. I think he's going to hit a couple big ones in this game, getting outside the pocket, using his legs. He's really athletic. So I'm going to go over. Not much, though, probably somewhere around 200, but I got over on both of these, DJ.
Yeah, I think Marcel Reed's going to hit the over on that. Like I said, I think he's going to throw for over 300 yards in this one. It's going to be a beautiful day in Columbia, and it's just going to be a perfect environment for slinging the rock around. And then for Zollers, I think I'm going to go with the under. And it's not going to be based on the sample size that we saw at against Vanderbilt. That was he looked awesome in that one. But I just don't think that he's going to have enough time to sit back there and make these throws that he's going to be needing to make. And so I'm gonna take the under on that one. I think he's probably going to hit around the 120 mark.
Okay. I like that. Rushing. Ahmad Hardy over under 90.5. Ruben Owens over under 58.5. And Marcel Reed comes in this as well for over under 37.5. I'm going to take the under on Hardy. I think Texas A&M holds him somewhere under 70 yards rushing. I'm going to take the over on Ruben Owens because I already did my bold prediction that he's going to have over 100 yards. So why shy away from that now? Don't be a wuss. And Marcel Reed over under 37.5. I'm going to take the under for Marcel Reed. I think he gets sacked a couple times in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Reed on this one, or I'm going to start off with Reed on this one. I agree. I think he's going to hit the under. I think he is going to break a couple long runs, and I think that he'll probably get close to it once you add in the sacks, but I don't think he'll get there. I think Owens is going to hit that mark, and I think Hardy's going to get close, but I don't think he's going to hit 90. I think he'll probably sit around 80.
Okay. On to receiving, Mario Craver over under 59.5. Casey Concepcion over under 50.5. Kevin Coleman of Mizzou over under 49.5. And Marquise Johnson of Mizzou over under 32.5. I'm not going to break any of these down individually. I think they all go over. I think there's a lot of passing yards in this game. I think all of them go over.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think one of the Missouri receivers are going to hit the under just out of, like you said, the principle of I said A&M's going to hold them to under 200 yards. You can't do that if you're throwing for 80 yards or 100 yards between two receivers. So I think one of them is going to hit the under, but I agree with the A&M guys.
Okay. And now we will move on to our final part of this segment, where we pick against the spread and the over-under overall. Right now, A&M, as of Friday, November 7th at 3:35 p.m., is favored by 5.5 points, or it opened at 5.5 points, sorry. They're favored by 7. The over-under in for the game is 48.5. We locked this in on Wednesday at 6.5 when we did our picks for the week. So let's stick with 6.5, just for my sanity, I guess. I think Missouri covers. I think this is a very tight game. I don't think A&M's ever necessarily in trouble. I think that they control the game. I just think that Missouri, in their defense, is able to keep it close enough to make this thing tighter than a lot of people think it might be, even with a true freshman quarterback. And I've also got the over here, just barely. I'm saying A&M 27-23, so they just passed that over barely, but Missouri covers.
I think this game can go one of two ways. I think A&M can get to this young freshman quarterback early and often and completely rattle him, and that'll just be the story of the game. Or I think he can get going and kind of realize that, hey, this is big time football. I'm here to play, and I think they'll keep it close. So in both scenarios, I think if they can get to him early, I think A&M will win this one by probably around 20 points. I have 38-14 for that one, so they'll cover the spread and they'll hit the over. And but if not, at the same time, if Zollers proves that he can stay kind of sane in that pocket, then I think it'll be I think it'll be closer. I think A&M will still come out on top, but I think it'll be closer to 38-35.
Okay, so you think this is a high-scoring one for A&M regardless?
I think so.
Okay. Well, just a reminder, we are not gambling experts, hence the name of the segment. But if you are going to place a bet, go to FanDuel. Use code LOCKEDONCollege. $300 on bonus bets and stuff. I wasn't even supposed to do that ad, but I did. So you're welcome, FanDuel. But that's going to do it for another episode of Locked On Aggies. Thank you so much for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. For your second listen, check out Locked On SEC. Chris Gordy breaks down the best conference in college sports, from the rivalries to the championship and every game in between. Find Locked On SEC on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our podcast, download our podcast. We are on every major podcast platform. Follow us on Texas A&M Aggies on SI. DJ does some kick-ass work over there. Follow me on X at Matt Galatzan, and follow DJ on X at DJ Burt. And we will see you next time. After A&M wins, of course.